Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Our audience has heard a lot about the technology behind SKAIVISION. With us today is Jason Fayling. He's the CTO and co-founder of SKAIVISION. Jason, the brains behind the operation. Welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you for having me.
Mark has been on several times. He's brought on dealers and retailers. And, I view this as our chance to kind of lift the hood and look under the hood and find out a little bit more about the technology that you're using. And congratulations to you on the success that SKAIVISION is having.
Thank you. It's been a fun journey. It's going on 3 years now. And Mark Queen called me up one day and said, "Hey, Jason, let's go do this." And I told him, idea is way too hard, Mark. Can't do it. It's too hard. And then a couple thought about it, and we started strategizing. We figured, yeah, it can be done. It's not easy, but it can be done.
Mark's got a great track record and a great reputation in the industry. So when he
Yes.
speaks, a lot of people listen. And so first, I'm thinking for our audience, let's start at the beginning. You and I had a little chat in the green room before we got started. We talked a little bit about AI, but you made it clear to me that this is different than just AI. This is visual AI. Jason, tell us the difference and tell us about that.
Yeah. So when most companies talk about AI, they talk about the things you heard about with ChatGPT, or it's called large learning models. And it's a way to have computers make decisions for you reading text. What we're doing is visual AI, and that's more like a Tesla's self-driving car kind of technology.
Wow.
Right? Because what we're doing is we're looking at images from cameras and making decisions basically just looking at pictures, right? And it's a whole level harder than what traditional AI companies are dealing with.
I have heard that this type of technology has been used for some time at big box retailers in other industries. Jason, tell us what is SKAIVISION and how does that apply to the retail automotive dealership?
At the end of the day, what we're trying to do at SKAIVISION is make it easier for the dealership to either process more services through their lanes, make their customers' experience more enjoyable, either through keeping more informed of what they're doing or making sure that they can journey through the vehicle to the dealership faster, right? So at the end of the day, we're trying to save you money and make your customers happy. And we do that by trying to identify the areas in your service shop where there are bottlenecks and inform you to deal with those bottlenecks, right? And also our company can consult with your staff and give suggestions on how to deal with that based on our findings from our AI engines.
Wow. And I'm just thinking as a service director or a fixed ops director, my dealership has cameras, but there's no way that I have time to look at every camera that's happening all the time. So talk to us about that. Talk to us about the cameras in the store, because I understand you integrate with existing camera networks where possible. And tell us about that.
Yeah, when Mark approached me with the idea, the reason I said it was going to be hard was because his premise was we have to use the cameras that the dealerships already have, right? And that means if you look at other companies that are doing visual AI, they lock down the layout. They put the cameras at a certain spec, and everything is just perfect from location to location to location. Our problem is that every dealership is different.
Yeah.
Right. And there are hundreds, thousands of different types of cameras out there that we're working with. Right.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So we had to figure out a way to build the technology so that it could work with any camera that you've got. And we've done that. It's taken us a lot of time and money to build it, but we're there now. The idea is to, if you look at what a person will do, right? If you're watching this video feed right now, you can just intuitively know, that Ted's got a red tie on and he's got a gray or black blazer, right? Computers have to be taught that, right? So we had to build models to teach what a rack was, or if the hood is open on a car or the trunk is closed, right? We had to teach the computer how to detect these things.
Wow.
A typical dealership that's using our technology will generate 50,000 AI detections a day,
Wow.
right? It's very people just take for granted how easy our eyes can do. With computers, it's much more difficult.
Wow. So you integrate your technology with current camera networks in the dealership, and I would imagine there's a setup process, which I understand goes very smoothly from the dealers who are using SKAIVISION, and there's a lot of them now.
I mean, our whole goal is to make the dealership's setup be as touchless as possible, right? We will send our staff to your dealership. We will identify where all the cameras are at. We might suggest putting a camera in a different place or moving a camera to get a better optimal view. But our goal is to try not to have you add new cameras. And then we go back and if we have to install some cameras, we'll put the cameras in there for you. We hook them up to our system. We run it for 3 or 4 days to get the models to understand your traffic flows. And then it's off to the races. I mean, it's a pretty seamless, easy process.
I never thought that there are, and you're right, there's probably hundreds, maybe thousands of different kinds of cameras that you work with. So this is hard, not on the dealer's end, but on your end to set this up.
Not only do we have to deal with thousands of cameras, but you got to think about it this way, right? If a camera is outside looking at your shop garage door, right? If the sun comes overhead, it can totally change what we see. Yeah. If it's raining, it can change what we can see. If it's foggy, right? If it's dark or light, if it's a cloudy day, having the sun go over the car can totally just change what we're seeing, right? And the last thing that we want to do is alert the dealership on a false positive, we call it, right? So we actually have a process where if we get it wrong, the dealership can tell us with our software, and then we have an entire AI team dedicated to figuring out why we got it wrong, and then we can push fixes out near real time to make it so it doesn't happen again. So the system is constantly learning and getting better every day.
That makes all the sense in the world. I would imagine different times of year can also create different shadows and things like that as well.
Yeah, it's fun. We're starting to dip our toes into supporting the sales side of a dealership, and things you got to think about, right? If you've trained all your models during the winter and they're all wearing parkas and coats, and then all of a sudden you try to go to a dealership in Hawaii, you know, the models are going like, I don't see coats. What are these shorts, right? So it's been fun.
What are some of the metrics that are reported? Because again, as I mentioned, I'm imagining as a dealership manager, I'm not having to look at all the data, but you're going to give me actionable insights that I can respond to.
Yeah, one of our key features is we can track the time it takes for the vehicle to go through your dealership. And it's up to the dealership to define what areas or sections they care about. Most dealerships want the total time, which is the first time we see the car to the last time we see the car, right? But you can then break that up into either further sections. How long does it take to be greeted? How long does it take to go from the greeting to the rack? How long is it on the rack? How long does it go from the rack to the car wash? How long is it in the car wash, right? But each dealership can tell us what they care about. And then for each of those sections, they can tell us what are the acceptable times that are okay. And then what times are not acceptable, please tell us so we can deal with it.
And you could help us with bottlenecks at different times of the day, rush hour. I'm thinking in the morning. You mentioned a customer being graded. That is important to acknowledge the customer early to be able to get to them. And then you mentioned the vehicle going onto the rack. It may go out into the parking lot, and then a technician has to go hunt for it and then bring it in. And all those are inefficiencies that you can help identify, or inefficiencies that you can help identify.
That's correct. And in fact, we are working on technology now that will actually help you identify where that car was put on the lot too, as well as tracking how long it was in that lot. Specifically, we're working on trying to figure out if we can help the dealerships understand which cars need their batteries charged. So if they sit in a lot for too long, we can say, hey, that car over there hasn't moved in 30 days, better go charge the battery, right? So if you want to break our technology down into the simplest form, we can track time for a vehicle in different areas, and then the dealership can tell us what times are acceptable and what aren't. And when they aren't acceptable, we can escalate and make it so that you can deal with the problem real time.
So pardon the pun, but you are another set of eyes, or many sets of eyes, to assist the dealership as to what's happening, and to do it so that, I mean, nobody can dispute it, right? The data is
Correct.
accurate.
That's correct. Right.
So, first of all, this is fascinating, Jason. Okay, this is all coming to fruition. Tell us a little bit more about how do you alert management as to inefficiencies in the process? I mean, is it different for every store, or how do you do that?
Well, we have broad themes, right? But we can text a person with the regular just text message. We also have a mobile app that you can download from the stores, and we'll do push notifications to those mobile apps. We have an actual desktop application that can alert and pop information up while you're there. And then for the more tech savvy organizations, we can actually have our computer talk to your computer, right? And in conjunction, talk to the software that you use also. So we can partner with third parties and let them know that the car is taking too long, and then their software can escalate and work their process as well. We actually built the company from the ground up so that we could integrate both consume and produce data for anybody that wants it.
So you and Mark Queen got together with this idea and basically built the product and, streamlined it for retail automotive, based on inefficiencies, of which there are a multitude at the average retail dealership. And Jason, you're right. No two dealerships are the same. I don't care if they're part of a big dealer group. They're all different, and they're all laid out differently. Parking lots, inside and outside.
Not only are they different layouts, but how they process the vehicles are dramatically different, right? Now, one of the nice things is as we add more dealerships to our offerings, okay, we're starting to see what works and what doesn't work, right? And so now we can also offer our advice as to say, hey, you're struggling in this particular area. Well, there are others out there that are doing it this way that can make it better for you. When we built this company, as a technologist, I wanted to make sure that if I were to consume SKAIVISION, what would I need to make it be useful for me? And so any other software vendors out there that deal in the automotive industry will love working with Sky, because we call it API first, meaning we give data out and we receive data as easily as possible.
All right. SKAIVISION, visual AI. Jason, I got to ask you, one of the dominant things happening right now in the retail automotive industry is the vehicle acquisition process. Customers who have purchased from the vehicle, or leased from the dealer. These are typically one-owner vehicles. They're in high demand. It's tough for dealers to get good used cars, and here they are coming into their service drive all the time. I understand that SKAIVISION can help enhance the customer experience during trade-in evaluations. I don't know if you're able to speak to any of that today.
Yes, we actually, our technology can either work off of with a repair order when it is created. We can initiate a conversation with the vehicle owner with our AI technology. But we also have the ability to initiate that conversation the very first time a camera sees that car. And that can be 10 minutes earlier than when the RO is opened, right? And so that's a big differentiator for our technology. Is our theory is a person's going to sell their car to a dealership if they're at the dealership, right? So we don't want to start that conversation as they're pulling out to go to Starbucks while their car is being worked on, right? We want to make sure they're physically there so that the dealership staff can interact with the person. So being able to send that, start talking to them right when we see the first time we see a car and a camera is invaluable. And the technology will actually walk the vehicle owner through the processes of getting them to want to talk to a salesperson. So it's been trained to have a conversation with the vehicle owner and to push them towards having a conversation with the salesperson.
We've had a number of panels with SKAIVISION with retailers, dealers who are using them. We've had Mark on here several times. There's a big distributor in the Southeast United States who has started now to help implement this for some of their dealers. I think you're going to have great results there. Jason, I got to ask you, what about privacy measures? Okay. Making sure that we're covered on that. I know that's come up. I've been asked about that. What's your take on that?
So a big portion of my career before getting into SKAIVISION was dealing with big data. And I learned a lot around what you should and shouldn't do. Primarily, right, we believe at the core that data, you have privacy as an individual. Anytime we have any type of visuals that we are showing to a dealership, we blur out any faces. So you'll never see a face with our technology. Our AI engines don't know it's Ted. It doesn't know it's Jason. We don't use facial geometry for identifying. Okay. We basically built a custom algorithm that we call a silhouette that looks at characteristics of the person's body and their gait, and we associate a random ID. I never know the name of a person. Okay. And we never communicate anything about Ted when we're talking to the dealer from there. So if our systems were breached, they would get no data. There would be nothing that would be useful.
Okay. Amazing technology. And Jason, you're using this now. This is in place today in dealerships throughout the United States.
That's correct. Yep. We're adding a couple of rooftops a day. We're growing very fast. And we're learning. We are offering more capabilities today than we did 12 months ago. Right. And we're adding a new capability about once a month.
Everybody, Jason Fayling is the man. Okay. I imagine his phone rings at different, or his phone could be texted at different hours of the day and night, because he's been working under the hood on this SKAIVISION, which is now rapidly gaining interest and now getting a lot of traction in the automotive industry. A lot of dealers on the Roundtable are using SKAIVISION today. And the key is to identify inefficiencies, make the dealership more efficient, help throughput, not just save minutes, but save hours, okay, in the process, and in the result, save a lot of money, okay? And it's of great value to the dealership. So Jason, if our audience wants to learn more, okay, about SKAIVISION, how do they take the next step? Where do they go for more information?
I mean, our best place would be our website, skaivision.com. And from there, you can get in contact with our sales staff. You can reach out to Mark directly. And to scroll down here, you can shoot me an email if you have any technical type questions, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Well, Jason, I appreciate this and learning from your perspective and getting your answers. And you know what, Jason, it's so much common sense, right? Using technology that's available right now today, and you've identified how to do that.
Thank you. I've learned a lot building this company, and we're only going to get smarter from this point forward.
I can tell. And Jason, I want to wish you and your family, and Mark and his family, and the entire SKAIVISION family very happy Thanksgiving next week. And thank you for all you do for retail fixed operations.
And I'd like to make a shout out to my development team for helping me. It's not just me. My development team is critical to this effect, and I want to make sure they understand they're appreciated.
Everybody, SKAIVISION is here. It's now. It's making things happen. Jason Fayling with us here today. On behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, again, Jason, thank you for all you do. SKAIVISION here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.